We move over to the running backs. Nick Chubb at New Orleans. He comes in as RB23 for you, Matthew. Under 6 points in 2 of his 3 games this season. We knew it was going to take a little while to get Nick Chubb back in the fold and rolling. But can you roll with Nick Chubb in a decent matchup against New Orleans?
I can, and I will.
Okay.
He's my running back 23 this week. I'm keeping it open on Nick Chubb. I get it. Hasn't been great so far, but off of the bye, 2 weeks to prepare for a matchup with the Saints, who are not good. Right. So far this year, they've allowed multiple touchdowns to running backs or I should say multiple rushing touchdowns. Some of them have been to QBs, but multiple rushing touchdowns in 5 of the past 6 games. You can run on the Saints. They give up 5.2 yards per carry to opposing running backs. That is the most in the National Football League. And so Nick Chubb, who's getting a bunch of the work, as you see in the last 3 games in terms of their touches, 42 rushes for Chubb, 14 for the rest of the running backs combined. He's had 75% of the Browns' running back rushes since they've come back as well. I think off of the bye in the Jameis Winston revenge game against the Saints. Come on, come on. Nick Chubb gets in the end zone. He's my running back 23, keeping it open on Chubby.
You mentioned them allowing multiple rush touchdowns in 5 of their past 6 games.
Yes, sir.
And some of those are quarterbacks. Well, look at this. Just to running backs,
Okay.
they've allowed a single running back to have 2 rushing touchdowns in 3 out their last 4 games, right?
Damn.
They're a bottom 3 team as far as allowing fantasy points per game to running backs goes. And we saw Nick Chubb, we saw his snap percentage go down a little bit, but that's because their last time out, they was getting blown out by the Chargers, so that gave way to Jerome Ford, right? But I don't see that as the case against this Saints defense, who they're already beat up on that side. They just traded away their best DB, so I'm going to leave it open on Nick Chubb as well, who's had at least 15 carries in these last 2 games.
Yeah, for sure. They're beat down emotionally. And this feels like
I don't even see how they beat them. Like, what was the Falcons doing to even lose to his team?
You're the Falcons fan. You tell me.
I ain't the Falcons coach, though.
I know, but you're the Falcons fan. You're the Falcons representative.
I
on
was
this
way
team.
out there in Houston when they were playing. I ain't had nothing to do with that.
Bird down.
Them birds got shot down.
Does it feel like to you guys, or is it Wednesday and just the hype hasn't gotten there yet? But Winston going back to New Orleans feels a little Brady returning to New England, right? Kind of the same vibe.
I would put on the same platform.
Yeah.
Just like
feels,
it.
Just feels like, very.
2 greats.
2 greats, just like an iconic quarterback and an iconic franchise tied together for so many years.
Jameis might be able to build it up that way. Focus on the pregame speech.
He could build it up like that without trying.
Right.
Like, inadvertently just build it up like that.
Alexander Mattison, our next
we
running
love
back.
Jameis here.
Yes,
All right.
indeed.
Yes, yeah.
Our next running back, Alexander Mattison, he's got the Dolphins, 9 touches in his last game. That's the fewest for him since week 4, Lawrence. It felt like this backfield was really getting him going after moving on from Zamir White, but now it starts to trend the other way. Can you ride another week with Alexander Mattison?
Yeah, just first off, how the way that the Dolphins defense has been playing, their last 3 running back matchups versus Kyron Williams, running back 21, James Cook, running back 27, James Conner, running back 19, and he scored a touchdown. Are all 3 of them dudes better than Alexander
By a
Mattison?
mile.
The crowd says yes. So I'm going to have to close on Alexander Mattison. Another thing, too, he ain't scored a touchdown since week 6. That's tough. You got Amir Abdullah getting some run in there too, Matt.
Yeah, and that's the point. You think about their last game that we saw them before the bye, right? Alexander Mattison got 9 touches. Amir Abdullah got 7. Zamir White got 6, including the touchdown. And so we don't know Luke Getsy has been fired, and so we don't know what Scott and Norv Turner are going to do with this offense. It's a lot of variance here. They could go back to Mattison. He gets a ton of work. They could go back to Zamir White. It could be a 3-headed monster. Either way, there's just too much uncertainty here, especially, as you mentioned, Lawrence, on the road at Miami, a West Coast team traveling east for a 1 o'clock game, and this is not a good matchup. Dolphins over the last month have allowed the 8th fewest fantasy points to opposing running backs. So again, pick a stat, but Miami's good against the run. Las Vegas has not been able to establish the run, and it might be a multi-headed committee here. He's my running back 30. I too am closing it out. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.